So you're going to circle him first. Last one. Link arms and circle. A little closer. Perfect. Bruchim Abayim B'Shem Adonai. May those who enter be blessed in the name of Adonai. Mi adir ala kol, mi baruch ala kol, mi gadol ala kol, hu yivarech hechatan v'hakala. May the one who is supreme in power, blessing, and glory bless this chatan and this kala, this groom and this bride, as they come together to stand under this chuppah, to stand under this wedding canopy. The wedding canopy is a special place. It symbolizes God's presence over all of us. It symbolizes the home that you establish together. But its added significance, I think, is by the very nature of the making of this chuppah, Amy, by your mother. The fact that it was truly a labor of love on her part, having taken as long as it does to produce a life, indeed, to make it. But so very appropriate on this first day of the week after the Shabbat, in which we've read from the story of creation. For what better represents creation than a bride and a groom standing together in God's presence, in presence of family and friends, with the lovely, personalized chuppah covering to symbolize the creation of a new world. Even the circling which you did just a moment ago is itself symbolic of creation of a world. For in a sense, what each of you did as you individually circled the other was to form a world around the other, a protective barrier around the other. And then in linking arms and circling once together, you demonstrated that those two worlds are joined and are become one at this moment of creation of bride and groom. And so we say, Bruchim Habayim, we welcome you. We welcome you with this moment in which your hopes are being fulfilled. This moment is the merging of two paths of life into one. Bruchim Habayim, we welcome you to a loving partnership. Our tradition tells us that the partnership begins with the ceremony of Erusin, that of betrothal, in which the bride and groom, the future bride and groom, make a commitment to each other. At the heart of that commitment is this cup of wine, the first of two cups. Its content is sweet. Its content, according to the tradition of our text and teachings, is that which sweetens the heart and the soul. And so it is with these two blessings, these two brachot, that we complete the ceremony of Erusin as the two of you stand together under the chuppah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu ala arayot. V'yasar lanu et arusot v'hitir lanu et hanesuot lanu al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh amo Yisrael al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, whose mitzvot add holiness to our lives, who teaches us fidelity in our married lives and sanctity in our family lives. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who sanctifies the people Israel with chuppah, the wedding canopy, and kiddushin, the sacred rites of marriage. Amy Ben, as you drink from this first cup, drink deeply, for just as you share this moment, may you continue to share the moments of the future by breathing and drinking and enjoying deeply all that there is to do in life together. Ben? We're going to let you hand it to her. Thank you. The ceremony of Erusin is completed with a very important act, and that is the act of exchanging of rings. Ben, you're obligated to give Amy a ring. Amy, you've chosen to give one to Ben. But whether you're obligated or whether you choose to do so, and while it will alter the words that you're going to say to each other in a moment's time, it will not change the significance of the event. These rings must meet certain very clear, defined criteria. One, they are to be round, like the cycle of life. Two, they are to be unbroken, for life goes on. Three, they are to be plain, For all brides and grooms, all human beings, stand as equals at this moment. And fourthly, they are to be objects of value. For as you face each other now, and as you exchange these rings, you are looking at that person who is truly the person of greatest value and greatest worth in your eyes. Please face. And if I may have the ring that Ben is going to give. Thank you. Ben, I want you to be very careful with this ring, because not only is it a sign of what is about to take place, but just as the chuppah was made very specially for this moment, one might say this ring is made very specially for this moment. It's an heirloom that goes back multiple generations to Amy's great-great-grandmother, so that it has a long-standing tradition in the family. I'm going to ask you to place it on the first finger of her right hand, and it will only go as far as that first knuckle, so don't force it any further. Hold on to her hand, and if you will repeat after me, Ani, Hare, At, Mikudeshet, Li, Betabat, Zo, Kedat, Moshe, V'Yisrael. By this ring, you are consecrated to me, as my wife, in accordance with the laws of Moses, and the people of Israel. And Amy, if you will now take that ring and place it on the finger in which you're going to wear it, thus affirming your acceptance of the ring. And Laura, if I may have the ring. Thank you. These rings, by the way, not only that I described the criteria they had to meet, but our two witnesses, Ari and Dan, beforehand confirmed the fact that they did indeed meet those standards, correct? Okay. This is the ring that you have chosen to give as a gift to Ben. If you'll place it on his first finger of his right hand, and if you'll repeat after me, Ani, Lidodi, Vidodi, Li. I am for my beloved, and my beloved, is for me. Ben, I'm going to ask you as well if you will please take and place it upon the ring, the finger in which you're going to wear it, thus indicating your acceptance of it. And now if you'll both repeat after me. In accepting your ring, I pledge you, all my love, and devotion. Great. As a transition from the Erusin, the betrothal, to the Nisuin, the marriage ceremony, our tradition tells us that there's a document that is traditionally accepted by both the bride and the groom, and that while it may be symbolically accepted beforehand, again, which both of our witnesses affirmed earlier, it's now going to be given by you, Ben, to Amy for her permanent keeping. Actually, for her permanent acceptance of it, but then I'm going to place it back on the easel so it won't encumber her hands. But we'll get the point. The document reads as part, and it's a document that's written in a very ancient language, the language of Aramaic. It's a language that was spoken and used over 2,000 years ago. It was a language much as English is today. It was the language of law and of commerce at the time when both early Christians roamed the world, but when rabbinic Jews were establishing the tradition of Judaism. A document describes the specific nature of the relationship the two of you are entering into. And I'm going to read a portion of it which says as follows. Be'echad b'Shabbat, b'chamisha ve'esrim yom lechodesh Tishrei, shnat chameshet alafim u'shva meyot v'shivim u'shtayim, l'vriyat olam l'minyan sh'anum monin kan, beBelmont, North Carolina, America Hatzfonit. Ech hechatan, Binyamin Yitzchak ben Thomas Patrick v'Shoshana, Amarla lahada betulta, Shoshana liba bat velvel Yitzchak udvora chana, haveleli into kedat Moshe v'Yisrael. V'anef lach v'okir v'ezun v'afarnes yitilche lechi ki hilchot guvrin Yehudayin. Defalchin umokrin v'zanin umefarnesin l'sheon bekushta. V'yehevna lechi moar betulachi kesef zuze matan dechazi lechi mideoraita. V'kanina min Binyamin Yitzchak ben Thomas Patrick v'Shoshana Chatandanan. Lamarat Shoshana Liba bat Velvul Yitzchak udvora Chana betultada. Umin Marat Shoshana Liba bat Velvul Yitzchak udvora Chana betultada. Lamar Binyamin Yitzchak ben Thomas Patrick v'Shoshana Chatandanan. Al kol ma dechatuv meforash leil b'mana chasher lemikne bei. V'akol sharir v'kayam. Neum Shepsel Yehoshua Leib ben Moshe Aid, signed by Dan Steiner. Neum Ari ben Aaron, and signed by Ari Glantz. On the 25th of Tishrei in the year 5772, corresponding to the 23rd day of the month of October in the year 2011 of the Common Era, the groom, Benjamin Matthew Hager, son of Thomas Patrick and Susan K. Hager, and the bride Amy Lynn Riss, daughter of William Edward and Deborah Ann Riss, entered into the covenant of marriage in Belmont, North Carolina, in the United States of America. And they made the following declaration to each other: as we embark on life's journey, we promise to love, to cherish, to encourage, and to inspire one another. May we continue to grow together, maintaining the courage and determination to pursue our desired paths. Signed by me, and signed by you as well, but most importantly signed by our two witnesses beforehand who saw your symbolic acceptance, and now, along with all of those present, we'll see that Amy is going to accept this in permanent keeping from you, Ben, if you'll please hand it to her. And we're going to put it back on the easel. I can't help but turn to that ketubah to start with, because it depicts in the artwork that surrounds the ancient text an ancient site and a modern site. It depicts perhaps the Garden of Eden, where the first human beings were created, of whom we read the description yesterday. But it also perhaps depicts this lovely setting here of this botanical garden, where just as there are flowers and trees, where there are birds and nature, we can see the trees and the flowers and probably even hear the birds, to know that what God at once created for the first human beings is continually created for each and every one of us, in a sense, our own gardens of Eden in which we choose to live. The chuppah, adorned with the flowers, but adorned with the personal covering, in a sense is also symbolic of that creation story. For we're told that God made for the first human beings clothing to clothe them. And the rabbis tell us that just as God did that for Adam and Eve, we are in turn to do it for other human beings in the future, thus paving the way for our own behavior, our own actions, our own deeds. This is a creation story embodied, because it is for the two of you the creation of a new life together. You told me when we spoke together recently that the tree of life is the symbol that you've chosen. And you also confessed at that time that when you first met at a Purim event at the JCC a year and a half or so ago, you outbid her on a pair of candlesticks intentionally because you were planning to give them to her as a gift. It seems that that was your tree of life, as it were, beginning to take root at that moment. Now, both of you come from products, as we all do, of the 21st century. The fact is, Amy, you've grown up in a family not only with a talented mother who's an artist, but with a father who's hooked into the electronic world and television and news and sports. Ben in aeronautics as well, and here I am wired because this is being streamed to those members of the family who are unable to be here right now. So all of a sudden the Garden of Eden has jumped forward to the 21st century. But in spite of that, there is something irreplaceable about the human being and the very essential qualities that two people bring to a creation story. One of my favorite stories of rabbinic literature was the story of a sage who wandered through the wilderness for a long period of time, becoming thirsty and tired from his journey, and he spotted in the distance an oasis. It wasn't just a phantom of his imagination. It was real. And he came upon this oasis, perhaps much like this setting here this evening. It was lush, it was green, it was beautiful. He was able to drink of the waters. He was able to eat of the fruit of the trees. He was able to lay his head upon the pillow of grass there at the foot of one of the trees and to refresh himself. And upon completion of his rest and upon drinking and eating to his heart's content, he began to take leave of the spot to continue his journey. But he realized as he did so that he needed to share, as it were, a thought with that location in which he had just refreshed himself. He looked around at it and he said, "What can I do to improve upon this spot? How can I make it more beautiful? How can I improve upon a spot of a bride and groom standing before me, about to share their lives together and beginning it in so beautiful a setting in the presence of family and friends?" And the sage said, "I can't really improve the spot, but I can say that just as this spot has nourished me, just as this spot has provided rest for me, may it likewise nourish and provide rest for other strangers and wayfarers and travelers who may happen upon this spot as well." And so he blessed the spot and went upon his way. And so I bless you. As you have taken from the air around you, from the waters that you will imbibe, from the food that will nourish you, you won't be able to improve upon the spot. You can't improve upon the moment of a bride and groom standing together. But you can hope that others will someday come across this same path and likewise be blessed. And in the meantime, you can continue your journey, sharing the blessings of your life with those with whom you come in contact, those with whom you share your life together. In that way, we blend the 21st century with who knows what century it was when that first creation story occurred. But it is ongoing, and we are blessed each time we engage and share those moments with others. And so, I turn now to the Sheva Brachot, the 7 marriage blessings themselves, which I share this moment, this joy, this celebration. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sha'kol bara lichvodo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer ha'adam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et adam b'tzelmo, b'tzelem demut tavnito v'hitkin lo mimenu binyana deyad. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'adam. Sos tasis v'tagel ha'akara, b'kibutz baneha letocha b'simcha. Baruch atah Adonai, misameach Tzion b'vaneha. Sameach tisamach re'im ahuvim, kisamechacha yitzircha began Eden mikedem. Baruch atah Adonai, misameach chatan v'chala. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bara sason v'simcha, chatan v'chala, gila rina ditza v'chedva, ahava v'achva v'shalom v'reut. Mehira Adonai Eloheinu yishama b'yarei Yehuda, uv'chutzot Yerushalayim. Kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatan v'kol kala. Kol mitzalot chatanim mechupatam, una'arim mimishte niginatam. Baruch atah Adonai, misameach chatan im hakala. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, who has created the fruit of the vine. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, whose glory is evident in all of creation. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, creator of man and woman. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, who created joy and gladness, bride and groom, pleasure, song, delight, laughter, love, harmony, peace, and companionship. Adonai, our God, may there always be heard in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem the voices of joy and gladness, of happiness, the voices of the bride and the groom, the jubilant voices of those joined in marriage under the chuppah, the voices of young people feasting and singing. Praised are you, Adonai, who causes the groom and the bride to rejoice together. I'm going to take your veil back all the way. Debbie, if you want to come take Amy's veil all the way back. Thank you, Ben. And if you'll take the first sip, please, and then you'll hand the cup to Ben. We're going to conclude the ceremony with 2 separate acts. Ben, this was supposed to be a surprise for you, but I understand someone broke the surprise somewhat earlier. But not only did Amy present you with a ring as a gift this evening, but she's presenting you with this very lovely talit as well. And one of the first, if not the first usage of it, is that we're going to ask, and I'm going to ask for the 2 fathers, if I could, to wrap the 2 of you in this talit. So if you want to take this and hand it to Bill, and Bill will drape it across both of their shoulders. And if the mothers will come in as well. Excuse me. Amy, as you were veiled earlier, I extended a blessing to you. Now, as you are draped, both of you, in this talit, with your parents standing on either side of you, I extend the same blessing to both of you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God watch over you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's brightness shine not only upon you, but from within you as well. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may God bless you with the blessing of shalom, the blessing of wholeness, of completeness, of peace. In one sense, it's symbolized by those who are standing closest to you now. But in another sense, it will be symbolized and actualized by all the people, not only who surround you in your life, but who you choose in turn to bring into your worlds as well. A sense of completeness and shalom. And so lastly, Ben, have an act of breaking this glass. It's a strange act because we have really engaged in joy, celebration. And while there may be tears shed, they're tears of joy. But tradition tells us that even in the midst of great joy and celebration, we are to be reminded of the fact that occasionally there are bumps in the road. Occasionally there are obstacles in our lives. And as a people, we have known that history of obstacles. The tradition tells us that the origin of this took place again thousands of years ago at a marriage ceremony that perhaps got a little bit out of hand. And so one of the sages in attendance decided to provide a little sobering reminder to those gathered, and so he took an expensive glass and he threw it against the wall. The clatter immediately got everyone's attention to remind them of those sobering, somber moments in history. But at the same time, that we hope and pray that as you're joined together here, you will find a way to get over those bumps. You will find a way to smooth out the path. And you will find a way to celebrate the joy, even in the midst of the history of our people. And so I'm going to place this beneath your right foot and ask you to step on it and break it, please. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
You may kiss the bride, please. And I think now you may process. You want me to take that? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mazel tov.